This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, 500 young trout are released into a central Otago lake for anglers to catch in a few years' time. A Wanaka Museum curator is looking forward to the establishment of a new film park, saying it'll bring stability to the town. And locals battle a leaky giant ginger beer bottle in Waikaia. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahiahi nei, kia ora, I'm Simon Anderson. 500 juvenile rainbow trout have been released into Moke Lake near Queenstown. While the fish will take a few years to grow to a decent size, Otago Fish and Game says there's plenty released in earlier years, ready for catching.
A new home for these rainbow trout. Otago Fish and Game Officer Steve Dixon is busy each spring releasing juvenile fish into lakes and ponds such as Moke Lake near Queenstown.
We do this in the spring every year. We bring fish out to Moke Lake and release them. We've also got about another dozen dams and reservoirs around Otago that we release fish into as well.
This week's release consisted of 500 young trout, 200 more than normal. The tiny fish were raised at the Macraes Flat trout hatchery. They'll take a few years to grow to a catchable size, but with stock released at this lake for the last 8 years, it's a popular destination for anglers.
Moke Lake is very popular for fishing, especially in the summer when the dock camp is full. And you get a lot of people fishing around the lake edge. The fish that we released today are between 30 and 80 grams, so they would take approximately 1.5 to 2 years old to grow up to a catchable size for the frying pan. But we have been releasing fish into here since 2004, so there are some bigger ones out there to catch.
While the lake provides good conditions for the young fish to grow, the streams into it lack the gravels suitable for laying eggs.
Yep. Moke Lake is a lake that doesn't really have much in the way of spawning, so we just help it along with the release of 500 little fish each year.
The releases are funded from the proceeds of angler and duck hunting licences. Near Queenstown, the South Today.
This year's New Zealand Jet Boat River Marathon is underway, being raced on Southland's Matoto River yesterday. 4 legs were held between Steegs Beach near Gore and Ardlusa upstream towards Lumsden. It's a gruelling event with 7 boats from the 20-strong field already forced to quit. Today was a lay day for the marathon, which revs back up along the Dart River tomorrow before moving to the Clutha River near Beaumont. The competition winds up on Saturday on the Matukituki River. The curator of the National Transport and Toy Museum in Wanaka had dreams of bringing the film industry to the area many years ago. Jason Rhodes is now excited those dreams could be realised, with a major movie park development potentially providing an economic boost for the resort town.
Dream big, take small steps, but most importantly, start. It's a mantra Wanaka man Jason Rhodes believes can create long-lasting opportunities for the resort, as the proposed Silver Lake movie park moves closer.
Look, personally I think it will be a great benefit as a whole, because it's an industry in the past that's been too inconsistent and has been all or nothing, and it's very difficult to run any form of business when it's all or nothing.
Silverlight Studios has proposed a $280 million film studio at Wanaka's Corbridge Estates. The proposal has received fast-track resource consent under the government's COVID-19 economic recovery legislation. National Transport and Toy Museum curator Jason Rhodes believes it'll bring financial stability to the town.
Hopefully with Silverlight we'll get a more constant, which we can plan and spend, and hire people that are permanently here, as opposed to they're here today, gone tomorrow.
Rhodes and his sister Debbie administer a sprawling complex of large hangars and sheds, housing more than 60,000 items, from vintage toys to a host of collectible vehicles and a giant Papa Smurf. He says if and when the studio is fully set up, it'll prompt significant infrastructure upgrades.
You know, an industry needs to be more fluid and keep moving forward as a whole. And I'd like to think with this group that's come to town that we'll see more of that we can all plan, you know, whether it's housing, roading, everything. It's just consistency that we need.
He's confident it'll also have a positive impact on his business.
And I feel even for our business, we'll be able to plan more and know more of what's going on a sort of week-to-week basis. The staffing we can have that's jigged up, that will know what they need, and we can sort of carry on with that.
The museum has been open for more than 20 years, and if Silverlight gets the green light, Rhodes predicts the collection will keep growing. In Wanaka, the South Today.
Police came under fire last night at the Dunedin Central Police Station. A man arrived armed with a tray of eggs, which he hurled at the building. Police say the man had gone to the neighbouring Countdown supermarket to purchase the eggs before throwing them at the front of the police station shortly before midnight. The man was asked to cease his actions but refused, demanding instead to be arrested. The 55-year-old eventually got his wish, being arrested for disorderly behaviour. A giant bottle house beside Waikaia's Switzers Museum has sprung a leak, and it's not going to be an easy fix for the impressive structure. The large bottle is about 3 stories high and 33 years old.
Built in the shape of a ginger beer bottle and made out of 20,000 wine bottles, this remarkable building next to the Switzer Museum in Waikaia has been closed for the past 5 years because of a leaking roof, with the museum's chairwoman Myri Dixon occasionally trying to catch the drips when it rains.
The roof just isn't sealed enough to protect the rest of the bottle, and that's what we need to do, is to seal the roof. And once we've sealed the roof, it'll shed water and we won't get these drips that come down into the bottom floor from the roof.
The unusually shaped building was created in 1988 and inspired by a similar structure across the Tasman.
It's not a museum piece, it's just was to house bottles. They'd seen one in Australia in Tewantin, so they were going to build one the same because they thought it would be an attraction for Waikaia.
Water is currently seeping into the building in about 3 places, but the whole roof needs some sort of sealing to prevent further leaks in the future, because the rest of the building's structure is quite sound.
It's just beautiful glass, so thick, and a wine bottle nowadays is just so thin it just goes poof. But these are just, you know, like they're as good as bricks.
It's been suggested a plastic wrap might temporarily seal the leaking roof, but the museum's interested in hearing suggestions for a longer-term solution. In Waikaia, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, the National Party release a COVID plan and Queenstown Airport imports new quick testing equipment. Ka kite a konei.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. MolMap is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
The National Party wants to hand out rewards as part of its COVID-19 economic plan. Leader Judith Collins announced the party's plans this morning, which include giving every vaccinated person a $100 voucher to spend at tourism venues or eateries. The Back in Business plan would also see an immediate boost in support for smaller businesses and temporary tax cuts for workers. Judith Collins also wants a 6-week deadline for ending lockdowns in New Zealand and believes a target of 85 to 90% vaccinated is doable within that time. Queenstown Airport is one of a group of nationwide businesses granted a government exemption to import and use rapid antigen tests. The airport is part of a coalition of 25 nationwide businesses which will jointly import almost 400,000 rapid antigen tests. Results can be returned within 15 minutes, but the new tests aren't intended to replace PCR tests for border workers or those experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. The aim is to use the rapid testing as part of a wider surveillance of airport staff health. Other companies taking part in the scheme include Spark, Vodafone, Countdown and other major New Zealand airports. A Dunedin filmmaker has had her latest piece shortlisted in the Women Over 50 Film Awards. Kerry Mitchell's video is a stop-motion animation and will line up in the animated section.
Older women are celebrated in the work of Dunedin artist Kerry Mitchell. Her stop-motion animation, called Turf, has been shortlisted for Best Animation at the Women Over 50 Film Festival.
The main character, her name's Pat. I always name my characters. There's always like a little backstory to them. Pat is a mature lady that lives under this dome, and she wants her personal space. She just wants to enjoy it. And so part of the narrative of the character is that her space gets intruded, and her alter ego comes to rescue her, who is also called Pat. And then there's a series of female characters who I call Beryl, and they're all in various stages of ageing, and they have ride-on lawnmowers.
Her short films feature powerful representations of older women.
Pat in particular, I've created her so that she's quite pear-shaped, strong, sturdy thighs. She has a uniform. There's a lovely character, the detective character in the UK called Vera, and she wears a unattractive hat and a trench coat. And part of that play of, you know, her being past her prime, but she's comfortable, and sort of how women are cast in older characters. Pat also wears a singlet and underwear as if like she's part of the military, which is also another narrative that comes up in programs about mature women, you know. If they're strong, they're sort of a military sort of style to them. So she's very solid and capable, pear-shaped. And then the Beryl character, well, she's like a mother hen, you know, big bust, big backside, round face, little hairnet that she wears underneath her helmet when she's riding her lawnmower. And it's that same thing. She's every woman. She's your grandmother or your auntie. She's a character that people have responded really positively to because she's both capable, but her body looks warm. So it's a very particular aesthetic I'm going for.
In Dunedin for the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we look at how new housing rules could affect the South, and we take a look at your weather for the end of the working week. Ha koko akinei.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hoki Mai Anō, an accelerated push to allow more medium-density housing in New Zealand's biggest cities may also affect Dunedin. The government's changes are designed to make it easier to get houses built, make a dent in housing affordability crisis and strip out unnecessary regulation. The new rules may allow up to 3 homes 3 stories high to be built on many sites in Dunedin and Queenstown if they have areas experiencing acute housing need. Dunedin Mayor Aaron Hawkins says New Zealand can't keep its cities sprawling ever outwards. He's noticed a growing demand for attached units and apartments in Dunedin. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. 500 young trout have been released into a central Otago lake for anglers to catch in a few years' time. A Wanaka Museum curator is looking forward to the establishment of a new film park, saying it'll bring stability to the town. And locals battle a leaky giant ginger beer bottle in Waikaia. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, Dunedin's Octagon just before the lunchtime rush. Looking at the situation, there'll be cloud about the Otago coast and it's likely to remain cloudy with cold northeasterly winds, but mostly clear skies elsewhere, seeing temperatures becoming milder. Looking at the northwest of the South Island, a properly mild 17 and 18 degrees for Westport and Greymouth, both experiencing some sun. Over to the northeast, it's sun and cloud for Blenheim and Nelson, 2 on 16 and 17 degrees respectively. And just a tad cooler moving down the Canterbury coast, but sun and cloud here as well. Kaikoura and Christchurch reaching 13 degrees, Ashburton on 14. Looking at what's in store for those southern towns, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore can welcome light winds, clear skies with a high of 15 degrees, while the Catlins can expect stronger moderate northeasterlies with some cloud and a high of 14. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, light winds and clear skies for everybody. Te Anau on 15 degrees, Wanaka and Queenstown 16, and Alexandria reaches the highest of the lot on 17. Heading further north along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru should expect moderate northeasterlies with cloudy skies and a high of 14 degrees. A bit warmer inland with Twizel and Amanama, and for light winds with clear skies and a high of 17 degrees. In Dunedin, it'll be cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 5 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow and Friday too, although that may break with a few sunny periods possible in the afternoons. Expect cool temperatures and moderate northeasterlies tomorrow with a high of 13 and a low of 6. And there'll be breezy, fresh winds on Friday with a high of 14 and a low of 9 degrees. And in Invercargill, it'll be cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 5 and mostly cloudy tomorrow with a few sunny periods developing during the afternoon here too. There'll be light winds with a high of 14 and 5 degrees. Sunny periods and some high cloud are on the menu for Friday with moderate northerly winds developing and milder temperatures. A high of 16 and a low of 9. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe to be notified of that southern news as it happens. Nō reira kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.